Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. You know what it's time for, the High Risk Wrestling Recap, covering the week that was July 30th. And look, we're building up towards SummerSlam. We were building up towards a couple other shows, All In, All Out. Impact's got a couple shows coming up, so we're going to get into it. So let's just get into the news, shall we? So we have ourselves a new announced team for Raw and SmackDown. Well, not necessarily new. So starting, I guess, this week, Michael Cole and Wade Barrett will now be calling Monday Night Raw. And Cole will remain on SmackDown. And SmackDown will have a three-man booth with Michael Cole, Kevin Patrick, and Corey Graves. We don't know why they did this. We'll see how it goes. I miss Pat McAfee. That's just me, but he over there getting that ESPN money. Lufisto has sadly, kind of figured this was coming, deactivated her Twitter account because she's receiving a bunch of backlash from her anti-AEW tweets, and she was just speaking about her experience in the AEW women's locker room. There's been much said about what's going on in the AEW women's division. At one point, she said there was a meeting held to just shit on Thunder Rosa, and it was part of Britt Baker's crew, and Britt came out to say that's not true. And there are people that say that they feel like Tony Khan's bringing the AEW women's division back to the Divas era. There's a lot going on, and it needs to be fixed, seriously. The Young Bucks have re-signed with Impact, not only Impact with AEW, but not only the Young Bucks, all of the league, the Young Bucks, Kenny and Hangman, and the Young Bucks are now the highest paid tag team ever, making more money than Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. And other AEW originals have re-signed. That includes Kip Sabian, Evil Uno, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, Penelope Ford. Sign your people. Keep them there. Keep the homegrown talent there. Becky and Trish made their frustrations known that they were upset about their SummerSlam match being moved, and I don't blame you. Build up to SummerSlam, and then you just don't get to have your big payoff match on one of the biggest stages, and you're relegated to the main event, probably the main event of Monday Night Raw. And there's frustration growing in the women's division about how they're being handled, and I can see why the same faces all the time. No Zaya, no Piper, no Candice, no Io, no Alba, no Isla. Like, something needs to change. Ted DiBiase Jr., he could be facing 45 years in prison for his criminal case. This is the part of the fraudulent federal funds scandal that also involves Bret Hart. He is a part of it. Ted DiBiase. It's tough, so we'll see when the court trial begins on August 14th. And I don't understand how you get yourself involved in stuff like this. You're a former professional wrestler. You're the son of the $1 Million Man. It shouldn't be hard for you. And you're working with Bret Favre. Come on. So we'll see what happens with all of that. The WWE posted a high second quarter earning. They had their second quarter earnings call discussing Vince leave of absence, the UFC merger, the media rights. They're talking about their TV deals right now. They brought in, I believe, $40 million. This second quarter, which is one of their highest profit margins. Sorry, not 40 million, but 410 million. That's a lot of change. 40 million would be jump change. But yeah, their revenue was $410 million with an increase in 25% for the quarterly record. That is pretty crazy. Speaking of, just bringing in the money, LA Knight was July's top merchandise seller, and it wasn't even close. Second was CodY. Third was the Usos. LA Knight's just pulling it in. Push this man. And going in with this push, the Slim Jim Battle Royal. He's now a spokesperson along with Bianca Belair for Slim Jim. And some sad news, Adrian Street, the legend, has passed away. He was 82 years old. He was known as Exotic Adrian Street, working in the London scene. And he had a really, really big influence on a lot of professional wrestlers. Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, two of my favorites, just aren't on WWE's current creative radar right now. That just sucks. We're being told that they're not forgotten, they're just not on the radar right now. There's no place for them on the roster, and that's what happens. This is what happens when you have just a giant roster. And some pretty crazy news. It looks like Kairi Sane is coming back to the WWE. I don't know how she's going to be used, because they wasted her as a single star, but she was amazing in her tag team with Asuka. So we shall see. They can't waste her. They really can't. And I'm surprised she went to WWE instead of going to Impact or AEW or even staying in New Japan, because she would have definitely been treated better there. Looks like she might be coming around in November. She has a few Stardom and New Japan dates to tie up, but we shall see. I'm just happy she's back. I love Kairi. AJ Lee says goodbye to WoW. Her season-long contract is winding down, and she is happy that they got to put on this great show, and it's still going on right now. On the injury news, Pac will be out for a while with his injury. We don't know what it is, but he will definitely be out of action. He's injured once again, and that sucks. So we'll see what goes on with the Death Triangle. Looks like they're putting in either Commander or Vikingo with the Death Triangle. Randy Orton, he's training for a comeback, but he is nowhere near medically cleared to return. Some specialists have told him he probably shouldn't wrestle again either. Thunder Rosa is also not medically clear, so she won't be back in time for All In, but again, she's training and getting ready for her comeback. Jamie Hayter looks like she might be out for the rest of the year, and it sucks because she's going to miss All In. It was probably supposed to be her crowning achievement, and the current timetable for her return on her various injuries is February. We have no idea what's going on with Buddy Matthews, but he did wrestle last night, so his injury status is a little bit unknown, but he looks like he's healthy enough to wrestle, but he's still banged up. Brian Danielson is healing from his injury. Looks like he will be back right around maybe November. It looks like he's going to miss Grand Slam. Bayley's getting treatment on her knee. She hurt her knee a couple weeks back at that live show in Salisbury, Maryland. But she is kind of good to go, but they were clearly taking our time with her. And they're just being very careful with Bray Wyatt on his return from his sickness. They're playing his return close to the chest because this guy moves tickets and puts butts in the seats. On the rating side of things, Collision brought in 739,000 viewers with a 0.27 and 18 to 49. Demo, this is the highest since the debut episode, so this is pretty good. Raw, they brought in 1.7 million viewers with a 0.53 and the 18 to 49 demo. This was the go home episode for SummerSlam. Dynamite, they brought in 849,000 viewers with a 0.31 and 18 to 49 a demo. That is actually a little bit down from the previous week, but this was Dynamite 200, and ended with Hikaru Shida winning the Women's World Championship. Impact, actually, look, we're doing Impact ratings, are doing their highest ratings in a while. They brought in 153,000 viewers. I wish they were getting more. I wish they were getting at least 500,000 viewers. but they're also on Access TV. Maybe one day they'll get a better TV deal. And SmackDown brought in 2.5 million views with the I don't have the demo. I don't have the demo numbers. Might be a 0.77 in the 18 to 49 demo, but SmackDown continues to bring in good numbers. That is the news, and we shall be right back. All right, so the week that was the week in review. Let's get into a Monday Night Raw. We had our go home show for SummerSlam, and we opened up with Logan Paul. And once again, he's saying this match is going to go viral. He and Ricochet, excuse me, are going to go viral. Blah blah blah, yada yada yada. Ricochet comes out and calls Logan Paul a terrible human being because Logan Paul is a terrible human being, but he respects his athleticism. I also respect his athleticism. Paul also brings in Samantha Irvin into this. Who is Ricochet's fiance, and he tells Logan Paul, he tells Ricochet, hey, no hard feelings when your fiance announces me as the winner. It's a cheap shot. So Ricochet attacks, and then Paul knocks him out with a punch. Gunther tells Kaiser he has a chance to redeem himself against Matt Riddle. Kaiser defeated Matt Riddle. Maxine Dupree defeated Valhalla. Ciampa tells Shinsuke to fix whatever problem that they have. The Judgment Day brag about taking out KO and Liv, because, you should brag about that. Raquel tries to attack Rhea, but once again fails, and Rhea takes her out. So Raquel will get her match against Rhea when she's healthy. This match obviously didn't happen at SummerSlam. Gunther puts down the Alpha Academy and calls them a joke. And Maxine makes a good point, like, well, your boys are not tag team champions on the main roster. My guys are. Chad's a former Olympian. So, yeah, Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Ciampa. CodY tried attacking Brock Lesnar once again, and it did not work. Chad Gable survived 5 minutes against Gunther. That was the original plan. Gunther didn't like that because he lost. So they got the match restarted, and he defeated Chad Gable. And Becky versus Trish never happened, as Zoe jumped Becky during the match. So their match will now happen in 2 weeks. And Seth and Sami Zayn defeated the Judgment Day. This was a fine mid-go-home show. Over on Dynamite, we're moving forward to All In and celebrating Dynamite 200. This show gets a thumbs up just because it was a good show. So Jericho and Takeshita teamed up to defeat Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia after Don Callis hit Daniel Garcia with Floyd the baseball bat, which Jericho didn't like. Matt Menard tells Jericho that there will be a mandatory group meeting next week, and he better be there. We had a video package celebrating Dynamite's earlier days, and we also had the old stage this week. Jerry Lynn tells Jack Perry that he's got someone to fight him, someone that wrestled in ECW, someone that is still wrestling today, and that is none other than the whole fucking show, Rob Van Dam, who comes out to his old walk music by Pantera, which he hasn't had that music in forever. Jack Perry runs away, then tries to attack but still fails. RVD says later in the evening that he'll win the FTW championship and then retire it like he did before. Trent, in a shocker, defeated Moxley and Penta in an anything goes match. The BCC attack after the match, but Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy make the save, and they'll have a parking lot brawl this Friday on Rampage, this past Friday. MJF talks about his growth and says, that he always had to be fearful and he never really had friends, and you got to pay attention to the nuances with this story. Brings Adam Cole. Adam Cole builds him up, so we'll get this match at All In. MJF offered Adam Cole the contract. This is going to happen. They hugged, but you got to pay attention to that hug. Roddy throws a tantrum in the back, and then Kingdom tells him what's up, like, yo, Adam Cole always forgets who his real friends are, because never forget, Adam Cole was a part of the Kingdom in Ring of Honor. Kenny and the Bucks defeated Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, and Satnam Singh, and the Elite says they're not going anywhere, which also includes Collision. Swerve and AR Fox, and probably the most scumbag move I've seen in a very long time of wrestling, with the exception of like Christian. They go to Nick Wayne's house, attack his friend, and then beat the holy hell out of Nick Wayne while having Darby Allin on the phone. And the point was like, yo, you can pick up a phone now. So this was great. This was great. We just solidified AR Fox as a heel. Aussie Open retained the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships against Commander and Vikingo, and in the main event, Hikaru Shida defeated Toni Storm to win the AEW Women's World Championship. This is a fine show. Over on Impact, we're on to the next show, and we get why Eric Young is alive. So Trinity opened the show, and she's confronted by Deonna Purrazzp. Deonna wants a rematch, so Trinity gives it to her. I think they're going to fight at Emergence. The Coven won't let her defeat the Trinity stand. They attack her, and then they go on to defeat Trinity and Deonna Purrazzp in a tag team match. Scott D'Amore tells the Rascals that they better not screw up in this tag team tournament or cause any more shenanigans. Eddie Edwards and Alicia Edwards brag about running Tracy Brooks out of Impact, and Jody Threat comes up. She's like, listen, Tracy's a legend. She left because she doesn't need to deal with you. So Jody will face Alicia next week. Heath defeated Angels. Eric Young prepares for the design attack because he knows they're going to come. Jake Something won a squash match. Moose, Brian Myers, and Bully Ray want Leo Rush to join them next week for the 6-man tag match. Kenny King retained the Digital Media Championship against Joe Hendry and Yuya Uemura. It looks like we're going to get a new feud between Hendry and Uemura. The Death Dolls won a tag team title shot. The Rascals defeated Mike Bailey and Jonathan Gresham. And Eric Young, we got a video. So remember, he got stabbed by Diener, and then Diener left. So we assumed Eric Young died, but no, he survived, got on his motorcycle, rode away. The WWE did get used, came back, and here we are over on Ring of Honor. This was a good show, like match quality wise. You know, we got a TV title tournament involving, the same folks. Some championship matches with Shibata retaining the Pure Championship against Josh Woods. Athena retaining the Women's Championship against Diamante, and then showing Diamante respect, which then ties into Diamante's attack on Collision this past week. We got Maria scouting Layla Hirsch, the Renegade Sisters, Robin getting a W. This is a solid show for wrestling. I just wish there was more story here. Over on SmackDown, we had the go home show for SummerSlam. LA Knight defeated Sheamus, and many of the Battle Royal participants were there. Karrion Kross and Grayson Waller tried to attack LA Knight, but it didn't work. The Brawling Brutes vs. the OC ended in a no contest after the Street Profits attacked both teams and then celebrated with Lashley. So, are they heels or are they tweeners? And they were wearing suits, and they look damn good. I'm just saying, Paul Heyman's and hypes up the match, the story, the family. We had a beautiful Noai video package aired, and Jay tells Paul that he's bringing honor back to the family. Then he super kicks Solo. Theory defeated Cameron Grimes, and I hated this because Cameron Grimes essentially dominated the match, hit all of his moves, and Austin Theory still won. Santos Escobar delivered I forget the name of his finisher, something driver to Austin Theory. Grayson Waller effect with Io and Bailey. This wasn't long because Shotzi came out on her tank, but it wasn't Shotzi. Shotzi was actually behind Bailey, showing off her new haircut. Shotzi looked really good too. And WWE played this dumb Clippers cutting sound on the PA system. It was horrible, and it was Zelina Vega in the tank. And Zelina Vega subsequently defeated Io Sky in the match. And in the main event, Jey Uso defeated Solo Sikoa. I'm so upset they gave us this match for free. Why did you not build this match up for a pay-per-view? This could have been the main event for Payback. That's all I'm saying. Over on Rampage, the Hardys and Keith Lee defeated the Butcher and the Blade and Kip Sabian. I'm just tired of Butcher and Blade and Kip Sabian leaving. I hate that they're definitely more than glorified jobbers. The Young Bucks then challenged the Hardys. It was really funny because it was like the Young Bucks were talking, and they're like, Hardy, we see you standing there in our shot. And Simon Miller makes fun of this all of the time. Anna Jay defeated Sky Blue, and now she'll get a championship match against SHida on Dynamite. We had a really funny Chris Statlander interview. She was she was squat pressing Renee Paquette, who was on her shoulders during the interview. It was really, really funny. And Chris kept saying all of these funny euphemisms like about your mother coming home. She was like, you better put your PGs on and clean the milk up. It was hilarious. Swerve and AR Fox won a squash match. In the main event, the BCC defeated the Best Friends in a parking lot brawl. Go and watch this match. Go and watch this match. So now all three teams got a W. 2 weeks ago, the Lucha Brothers won the triple threat tag team match. This week, Trent won the triple threat anything goes match, and the BCC won the parking lot brawl. All is fair. Over on Collision, Ricky Starks goes full heel finally. So FTR retains the tag team championships against Big Bill and Brian Cage. You knew they were going to retain, but this was really a solid, fun match. The Guns are having fun. The Bullet Club Gold are having fun. They're just having a really great time. And AEW's finding this nice little groove of hilarity. Christian did an interview. He had his daughter with him, and this girl was the same girl that Jack Perry was using to protect himself. It was hilarious. Christian kicked his own daughter out of the arena. It was hilarious. Chris Statlander retained the TBS Championship against Mercedes Martinez. Diamante came out. Looks like she was going to help Chris from getting beat up, but then she started beating up Chris Statlander, and then Willow Nightingale came out to make the save. So we're getting a tag team match next week. I'm a fan of all these women. Give it to me. Joe just absolutely squashed and killed Sir Pentacle in like 10 seconds. Then he challenged Punk to a match at All In. According to the claim, Daddy Ass is retired. So I want to know what the House of Black whispered to him. The House of Black retained the Trios Championships against Action Andretti, Darius Martin, and Lee Johnson. It's nothing more than like a glorified squash. Powerhouse Hobbs does not want QT's help. Christian, like I said, kicked his own daughter out of the arena. This was also hilarious. Jay White defeated Metalik, and Punk defeated Ricky Starks, as Ricky Steamboat was the special guest enforcer referee. And after the match, Ricky Starks attacked Ricky Steamboat until Punk stopped him. So yeah, this wasn't the best in-ring quality, but it was still a fine show, and I like how different Collision is from Dynamite, from Rampage. There's a lot of wrestling, y'all. And our matches of the weekend, boy, we've got a lot. So from Raw, Gunther versus Chad Gable. Please go check this out. From New Japan, 3 matches from the current G1. Kazuchika Okada versus Kenta, Tetsuya Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr., and Shingo Takagi versus David Finlay. All 3 matches were bangers. From Dynamite, check out the Triple Threat Anything Goes match. Trent versus John Moxley versus Penta El Zero Miedo. And the AEW Women's World Championship match, Hikaru Shida versus Toni Storm. From Impact, the Coven versus Trinity and Deonna Purrazzp. And Kenny King versus Joe Hendry versus Yuya Uemura for the Digital Media Championship. From Rampage, the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Best Friends in a parking lot brawl. From SummerSlam, Logan Paul versus Ricochet. And Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. It's a lot of good wrestling this week. Not so much on Raw and SmackDown. I mean, Raw only really had one good match. SmackDown really didn't have any, but it's kind of what you go for with the go-home shows. And our star of the week, well, I'm actually going to give it to the Best Friends. Trent gets the W, and even though they lost the parking lot brawl, they are back to being elevated once again. We're probably going to get Mox versus Orange Cassidy for the TNT Championship. For the International Championship at All In. This was great. The Best Friends need to be elevated once again because they are a big part of AEW's history. But that is our show. Don't forget to check me out on the socials. Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube. Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram. The 215 spelled out. There's also coffee. And Patreon, as all donations are welcome. And as always, Zia Lee, Wendy Chu, Shotzi Blackheart, Bailey, Willow Nightingale, Isla Dawn, and Gigi Dolan. Holla at your boy. Peace.